Peace, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Musicindustry. My name is Aquil. Eternal High Frequency is what I represent. Make Sense is out right now on our streaming platforms. Traveling Light will be coming. New music will be coming out very soon. Look for it on this page and on all streaming platforms. So, the topic of this vlog is hip hop a scapegoat for the current state of our community? And I've seen this topic thrown around on several platforms or several pages, and people always say, well, people was killing before the music, people were selling drugs before the music, people were, these negative things that happened were out there before the music. So why you blame hip hop? You don't talk about movies, but how can I say this? Well, this is going to be deep. The situation that so-called black folks in America find themselves in is a very peculiar one. We have a very unique history. Along with people in the Americas that are of African ancestry. Very peculiar history, very unique history. And being that a lot of our people had their culture stripped away from them, had their identity stripped away from them, or parts of their identity stripped away from them, as far as their original language, original concepts of spirituality, original family structure, original methods of eating and food, and so on and so forth, culture. So we had to piecemeal the things that we internalized or kept, along with the things that were thrown at us, and some of them detrimental, to keep us pacified, to keep us, subdued, to keep us enslaved. So we have a piecemeal in the diaspora, not just in America, of culture that is, for our immediate survival. But overall, we're not thriving. So I say that to say that yes and no, the music can be blamed, specifically in America, United States, for our conditions. Why do I say yes and no? Let's start with the no. No, because yes, these issues of, violence, of drugs, of poverty were around prior to the music. But someone said this, and I forgot who, the image of our underworld is promoted as who we are, more so than everything else in any other culture. You don't see the underworld of China promoted. You don't see the underworld of America promoted as who they are in their popular culture. Yes, there are instances of it, but there's a balance. You don't see the underworld of India. You don't see the underworld of the UK. You don't see the underworld of France. You don't see the underworld of so on and so forth. The underworld is not promoted as the top and top level media imagery of the people, whereas so-called black folks, the underworld, the drugs, the prostitution or pimping, the killing, super thug image, that is promoted as the top level of our community, or so-called community. And I say so-called because I get, just in my observation, I don't think we have many communities. We have areas where we are forced to live, but common unity, I don't see a lot of that, especially since the 80s with crack. So I say that to say that no, you can't just blame the music, but these issues were around, these issues were around prior to the music. But this music promotes our underworld and our image in the most negative degradation, degrading, derogatory, backwards image, light. And yes, you can blame it. Why? Because of what I said earlier, as far as culture goes, and identity, I'll say identity. Our people are confused on who they are. And I mean of the diaspora, but especially in the United States. Where you have these different factions popping up and people creating all kinds of, cognitive dissonance as far as, we're Aboriginal, or we're Moors, or we're Hebrew Israelites, or we yada 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 yada. And okay, yeah, you can be all that, but where does this confusion come from? It comes from the fact that our people do not know who they are, so they're striving for an identity. Insert music, where you have young impressionable youth who do not know who they are. I mean, naturally, they're growing into who becoming who they are, so you're dumping this concept of who they are on top of them. Where do we always hear the concept, oh, we only pigeonhole to sports and entertainment, we can't do anything else. And not saying, I told you, I never got into music, because I thought it was a popular thing to do. I got into it because it's something I really wanted to do. I didn't care about fame, I didn't care about, of course I would like to be rich, but more so anything is my calling. I can actually say that I'll be doing this with no money. So, I say that to say, when you put impressionable youth who are striving for identity, this is example, and you dump constantly 24/7, you market them as a certain thing, you market them as super thugs, you market them as criminals, you market them as just the lowest bottom level thing in society. What do you think is going to happen? They're going to get the impression that that's who they are, that's who they're supposed to be. And now let's put it in the macrocosm as far as so-called black folks in America. When you have a people who have had their image and identity toyed and played with and genetically modified by their colonizers, and you dump 24/7 the media image of them being criminals, vagrants, women beaters, child abusers, so on and so forth. What do you think is going to happen? Now, are those elements there? Yes, but they're not the majority by far. But when you market that to the world, what do you think is going to happen? And then you have people on the other side of the world who may not have ever had interactions with us, and their first impression is seeing, a video or a movie where we're always the criminal, we're always the first person to get killed, especially horror movies, and I don't watch horror movies. Or you're just the most bottom level, knuckle dragging image, and people say, oh, it's just entertainment, and that's another episode. Is it just entertainment? And that brings it to China. China banned hip hop in certain parts of the country because of the influence it was having on the youth, and as far as how they dress, how they act, how they talk. And they saw that, this is an influential art, and it is very influential. We are influential people, even in our current state. But they said, no, we will not have it where, you're having this negative influence on our people. I'll give another example. David Banner talked about Get Like Me when he toured the world and he saw how people were viewing us, so-called black folks in America. And he said it was super negative. I understood the power and the negativity that was promoted as far as our imagery, and it was problematic. I'll give a final example. I'll never forget, I was only 15 years old and I went to Egypt, and the guy is asking me about drugs and guns, and I'm like, where is he getting this from? And he had rap cassettes, he had cassette tapes. This is 2000. So I'm like, wow, he's getting that from the music, So it's not by coincidence that the people that control these labels promote certain images, promote certain messages, and certain things cannot be said or will not be promoted or will be undermined. And they promote images that are backwards, negative, and just super, just self-defeating, fratricidal, homicidal, suicidal, so-called black folks. So yes, it is the blame. It has blame, but it also cannot be the full blame. It has a part in the things that we see today in our so-called communities, in our so-called black folks. But what say you? I don't want to make this too long. Thank you for listening. Music No Industry, turn on high frequency. Make Sense is out right now on all streaming platforms, and I will see you on the next one.